35 pounds in 6 weeks. This claim that Alex Hormozi gives in his blog post not only seems far-fetched, but nearly 6 pounds gained per week hardly seems possible while being all natural and no steroids. His results blatantly fly in the face of what's considered generally possible, and it's fair to say I'm not the only one who's skeptical.
That was natural.
That was natural.
100%.
But rather than just speculate, I decided to try this experiment myself. This is what 6,000 calories per day for 42 days looks like. 800 grams of carbs, 300 grams of protein, but only 50 grams of fat every day. Nearly 3 times my normal daily intake. I'm following exactly what's outlined in his blog post detailing his experimental program, which includes 2 workouts per day. Every morning is 7 sets of 7 reps flat bench press, followed by 7 sets of 25 reps leg press. Then in the afternoon, a 3-day split of chest and back, legs, arms, and then a rest day. This should take about 2 to 3 hours every day, and I don't work on Sundays, so minus 1 rest day per week. Now I know what you're gonna say. What about overtraining? Apparently it doesn't exist for the next 6 weeks, as long as I make sure to sleep as much as possible, eat all my calories without vomiting, and I don't know, have a positive attitude or something. Breakfast is pretty simple. 2/3 box of mini wheats and half a gallon of skim milk. Rather than create a soggy bowl of mush, I typically ate these separately while I got my first workout of the day in, which means I was eating breakfast for 2 to 3 hours straight. Before you decide to jump headfirst into trying this routine, try starting with just the mini wheats and see if you can handle it, because I don't think that most people can. This is also when I take my essential supplements for the day: creatine, magnesium, lactate, and Beano. Note from my wife, the last 2 had little to no effect. Now I do want to point out that I'm not new to lifting weights, but I've also never been particularly serious about it in the last 5 to 6 years of doing it. Over the last 6 months, I've actually lost weight from being at a very unhealthy 190 pounds to now being at a starting weight of 172 pounds. So I don't assume that I'll be benefiting from any newbie gains, muscle memory, or any sort of elite genetics like Alex claims to have. I am extraordinarily average and should realistically expect far worse results than what Alex was able to see. My second workout typically happened around noon every day. There's really nothing special about the workouts that are in the program, just that many of them are super high volume. For example, 5 sets of 25 to 75 reps of barbell shrugs, or 150 reps of lateral raises. So once I'm home, I have an egg white protein shake, followed by an entire box of pasta and half a jar of sauce. Make sure you cook it fully or else it will end up expanding inside your stomach. There will not be room for that and it will not feel good. I also realized I ate double the amount of mini wheats that I was supposed to on day 1.
This is how much it should be. So about half of what I ate on day 1.
Which is a huge relief. So even though the program says 2/3 box, make sure that you aren't getting the family size boxes. So it's 10:30 p.m. Trying to get my last meal of the day in, which is pretty much triple chipotle bowl with no meat, few tortillas, and sour cream, which is the only fat I get today. I'm already not getting 8 hours of sleep in tonight. If I hadn't already bought the food for all 6 weeks of this, I don't think I would continue because today has been rough. I've pretty much only eaten, worked out, and recovered from eating all day today. It's all I've done. Now apparently this routine was an experiment to limit the fat gain while bulking, while also gaining as much muscle mass as possible.
And so basically the efficiency of fat conversion to fat that's stored is almost 100%. The efficiency of carbohydrate storage into fat is lower.
Hopefully that means that I don't gain a lot of my fat back. So here's me doing my second body scan. And I know these things aren't super accurate, but we should still be able to get some decent measurements from it. So week 1 results, I'm up about 11.4 pounds. 3.3 pounds of that is fat, and then 4.6 pounds is skeletal muscle. which means the rest of that 11.4 pounds is from water weight, probably from eating so many carbs and being fully saturated. And then my body fat percentage is at a total of 15.2, up from 14.4 a week ago. For reference, by the end of the 6 weeks, Alex gained 35 pounds and increased 2.2% body fat. So we know that around 11 pounds of his 35 was from fat, leaving the remainder for muscle and water retention, which wasn't measured. Over the next 3 weeks, I actually started to find my rhythm with the workouts and the meals. Don't get me wrong, it did not get easy, and I'll get into the negative side effects, of which there were many. But I would comfortably say that I was about 90 to 95% adherence to everything in the program during the first 4 weeks of doing this. Every 3 days in the program, it says to add 5 to 10 pounds to my bench press, and to my surprise, I was able to maintain that or more every single time. This is by far the strongest I've ever been. Having so many carbs in my system gave me a ton of energy, and I even felt like I had the endurance to add lateral raises into my morning workout. So fast forward to the end of week 4, I weighed 198 pounds at 17.8% body fat, and so far reading at 7.7 pounds of lean muscle mass gained, which means I'm almost exactly on pace to match Alex Hormozi's 35 pounds by the end of week 6. And then I hit a wall. I still have no idea what happened, but suddenly it's like my body was rejecting all of the food. I wasn't actually throwing anything up, but 2 to 3 bites into each meal, I'd start gagging, and it took me like 3 to 4 days of forcing the food down to even kind of get over this. Aside from the food, my body was taking a beating. And speaking of which, here are the other things you can expect if you do this diet. You'll feel bloated and slow from morning until night. You'll have frequent hot flashes and generally run a higher body temperature all the time. My Oura Ring, which I've been using to track my sleep quality and heart rate, stopped fitting at about week 4. It's okay though, because my mid-sleep muscle cramps and peeing 2 to 3 times a night are enough to tell me that my sleep quality is not good. I snore now, so that's new. My joints all hurt, including my jaw from eating these stupid dry mini wheats. Between working out, eating, and then recovering from eating, I really don't have time to do anything else during the day. What was most concerning is that apparently I was showing signs of pre-diabetes, frequent peeing, severe dry mouth, dehydration, and while I really should have gotten this checked out, I kind of just decided to push through it, and after a little while the symptoms mostly went away. So, not recommended, but be warned. During weeks 5 and 6, I probably dropped to about 70 to 80% adherence to the daily calorie goals. And because I was sleeping so poorly, my workouts also started to go downhill. Okay, I have to address something. As I was finishing this challenge, I started to see Alex on some different podcasts where he gave some conflicting information about what he actually did during the 6 weeks challenge.
During the workout, I'd have 1,000 calories of dextrose or maltodextrin that I just mix with water and 2 scoops of whey protein.
That's not listed in the diet.
And then after that, I'd have a pound of pasta for dinner.
So Alex said he was eating 1 pound of pasta per day. I've been doing closer to 3 pounds, and that's not even with the pasta sauce in there. So it seems like he made some minor substitutions that I didn't account for in the diet, which would have made it a bit easier to do. And he also said this about the workouts, which contradicts what's on the blogs.
So I set a timer, and every 45 minutes, I would go and do 1 set on 3 exercises, then I'd go back to work.
So overall, it's not drastically different, and to be fair, he's probably done a lot of different bulks and routines in his life. But I do want to point out that I tried to follow the blog as closely as possible, to the extent that I calculated all of the meals to make sure I hit the macros and calories exactly. So if you want to try this challenge for yourself, you can decide whether you want to follow the blog like I did, or follow what you hear Alex say in his videos. And by the way, if you want a copy of this grocery list and the fillable workouts, just comment or DM me and I'll figure out a way to get it to you. So finally, I did end up finishing all 42 days of this routine. My final ending weight was a 30-pound weight gain, which is the heaviest I've ever been. My scans show that I gained a total of 9 pounds lean muscle mass and had gone from a 14.4% body fat to an 18.1% body fat. These results may not look crazy, but essentially I had really balanced increase in size across all of my muscle groups. And overall, I gained about 3 to 4 times the amount of lean muscle mass that is considered normal in this amount of time. Here's my bench press numbers from day 1 of this routine, compared to my numbers at the end of week 5, where I probably pushed it a little too hard, and had to lower the weight for the remainder of week 6. So the strength gains alone are unbelievable to me, even if the muscle measurements aren't 100% accurate. To be honest, I was a little disappointed with how much fat I had gained considering the low fat amount of the diet, and that was kind of the purpose of this routine. But it really wasn't that bad considering I just ate almost 250,000 calories in 6 weeks. You know that feeling when your seatbelt disappears when you buckle up, or it's more comfortable to have your shorts above your belly button rather than below it? Not a great feeling. But this program entirely changed my beliefs of what's possible for the human body. And honestly, I do believe that Alex did this when he was natural because I nearly did it myself. I would never do this again, and I'm not sure I would recommend anybody does this routine, but I could see myself doing a scaled down version of this again in the future.
I've been doing it 20 years. Like most people who are into fitness, like they're still in their first 5 years. I'm like, dude, well then give it another 5, and then give it another 5, and then give it 2 more, and then that is when I decided to pit.
Right.
I put 17 years in.
So now I'm going to focus on recovery for a while. I'm looking into doing a 5-day saltwater fast to help my joints and organs recover. No promises there. But I'd like to drop my body fat percentage also, so feel free to give me some direction in the comments and maybe help me out.
Bye.